I'm not a ranger yet, but I will be in the future.
Once a ranger,
Always a ranger.
Welcome back to Once a Ranger. I'm Minhas, and I'm joined with Nav and Aqil. We're starting off season 2.
Finally!
Woo! All right, so we actually start off pretty strong with Lord Zedd, one of the most infamous villains of Power Ranger history. What do you think, Aqil? I noticed you said he has no skin.
He has no skin. It's so weird because I've seen like pictures of him and stuff in like because we've talked about him before. So I thought just like red Power Rangers-esque suit. He's got the Power Rangers-esque mask. But then like seeing him move around and close-ups and stuff, the first thing I noticed is that his brain is out.
Yeah.
His brain. And then it like zooms in on his arms while the snake is there and you can like see his muscles. And then there's like fluids running around. Just it's gross. It's gross.
Is it gross? Or is
gross.
it not gross? Is it
so
the complete opposite of gross?
Is he your whole your let me explain character?
Yeah, he is very let me explain. But also so is Skeletor, and they're very similar.
Fair enough.
All right. I'll let you and your fan fiction can run wild with that. The other thing that came to mind with the Lord Zedd is, I don't know if you've seen Zendaya's outfit for the Dune 2 premiere.
I think so.
Like,
No.
no? Should we pull it up?
Yeah, let me look it up. Dude.
Yeah, take a second to look it up. It's a metal outfit with like a bunch of chunks taken out of it.
Yes.
Which
I
is
definitely know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, Lord Zedd outfit is very ass cheeky. Like,
That's not what I'm looking at, but
I
yeah.
know. But you know what I mean, right? It's like the same kind of vibe as what's going on with this outfit. So I totally see it.
Yeah, he's a very, very exposed person. But
For sure.
so that's just what he looks like. What got to me the most is how fast this happened. I assumed, based on the way that you guys were like talking about it and hyping it up, I assumed this was going to be like a whole season arc of like mysterious bad guy. Ooh, he's coming. And then like halfway through the season, he shows up and he wrecks stuff. No, he immediately shows up. Like Rita doesn't even have time to think about a hyper specific monster for these children. Like immediately goes to Lord Zedd. He immediately like Goldar is riding, glazing him up. Not Bulk and Skull.
Squat and
Babu.
Squat and Babu. Squat and Babu are immediately glazing him up. Rita is licking his feet, his weird skinless feet. It's like he's an immediate terrifying presence with absolutely no preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny too because he's like, you failed at your mission. And it's like, Rita was on a mission?
I have that in my notes too, because in the premiere that we talked about in the last episode, she does have a mission. Her mission is to destroy the universe, starting with Earth.
Yeah, but it could be that Lord Zedd sent her on that destroy the universe mission. Could be.
Yes, but in the actual aired first episode, she's only destroying Earth as a celebration of her coming out party.
You're right.
So it's not a mission in canon.
Also, she was away for 10,000 years, so he was just like, oh, well, she didn't complete her mission then. Like, he's just like, you've returned, but you still, like, he's waiting. He's very patient, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
What
think
was he doing this whole time?
It's not that she didn't do it, it's that she failed. He was really hard about the you failed. You were beaten by children. So she can take as long as she wants to get there, but if she messes up while she's there, then that's when Zedd comes in.
Okay, I'm gonna take a side for a second. Nuv, you say "hear me out" for Lord Zedd, right?
Okay.
But also compare him to his human self, and you tell me which one you prefer.
Should
Just
I
have that mental image in your
or
head.
is this, like,
I don't remember his human self that well, so I mean, like, it's hard to compare, but I mean, I would probably take the human side over someone with brains sticking out of their head, so I don't know, that's just me. I mean, look, everybody has their kinks, so, you know.
You're so funny.
That is an unsettling man.
The human Zedd?
The human Zedd.
Yeah.
How is it unsettling?
I mean, I would not trust human Zedd at all. I mean, I would just be like, no.
Sure, I'm not saying you trust him, but
like you can leave now.
I'm not trusting man with snake staff and brains exposed either. So, you know.
I mean, at least you get what you see
Fair enough.
With the Zedd in that.
That is fair. It's funny, Aqil, you say the whole thing about, like, Rita doesn't have the time to come up with a plan. Think of the monster we missed out on, though. They were driving, like, or there's, like, ATVs or whatever. It could have been, like, an ATV monster. Or maybe she would have seen, like, the flags and turned into a flag. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been a rock monster. Could have been,
Could have been anything. Could have been something completely unrelated.
Yeah. It could have been a shark that swims in the dirt and then pops up and bites tires. It could have been anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a shame.
But I do agree, because I think season 2 is the season I've watched the least out of all of, like, the original 3. Because, like, season 1 is season 1. It's just, like, the nostalgia purposes iconic. And then there's stuff in season 3 that I really like, so I watched that. But season 2, I clearly have watched very little, because I don't remember Zedd's intro. So watching this episode, I was like, oh, wow, he does show up right away. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, let's just make it happen.
And Goldar, like, bounces. As soon as he finds out Zedd is coming, he's like, all right, I'm off to see the Emperor. Like, you've been with Rita this whole time, trying to help Rita, flirting with Rita? I don't know. And then he immediately bounces to Lord Zedd.
There is definitely no indication that he had any dislike toward Rita last season.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
like, at all.
This is way out of left field.
Yeah.
Also,
though, speaking of, sorry, go ahead, Nev.
Well, also, just, like, the palace was already set up for him. Like, he was like, oh, he's gonna show up in the Chamber of Command, obviously. I was like, what do you mean, obviously? What was this Chamber of Command for the past, like, whatever time we've been watching?
And it's linked to his feelings. It's linked to his feelings. When he's mad, it turns red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mood lighting, you know?
Yeah. I wish I had that.
Oh, I didn't. My room would be dark 100% of the time.
Oh.
No,
it would be red.
Because I'm sleepy.
Because you're sleepy. Okay.
It'd just be nighttime.
I'm really glad that we did watch the episode 1 and the other one, the what's it called, pilot, before this, because I did mention that Goldar was flying. And I haven't seen. I'm like, did we see that at all? And in this, he gets his wings back, so we didn't see it at all.
Yeah,
we get to see Goldar's wings back. Notable thing for Goldar. Where did they go? Who knows?
Because I didn't even, like, think about that when we were watching the show. But then when I've seen, like, fan art or, like, looking up the monsters and stuff, he has wings.
Right.
And I just didn't put 2 and 2 together that he has wings.
Yeah.
And then Goldar in the 2017 movie, he has wings as well.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, like, very iconically Goldar. I was looking at a couple of my toys and he has wings as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just, like, didn't realize he didn't have wings in season 1.
Right.
Like, it just didn't, like, occur to me until we watched the pilot, and I'm like, oh, he's flying. I've just never seen him fly before. But it was just like, no, he doesn't have wings in season 1.
Yeah. Even once you mentioned it now, I'm remembering episodes in season 3 and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, he flies and he has wings and stuff. Why did I never clock that he didn't have them in season 1? Like, it's just not something I even noticed, you know?
Yeah. So strange.
I do want to tell you, Aqil, I think we mentioned this, but this is also not iconic. I mean, it is iconic, but it's significant for another reason, and it's the fact that Zedd is a completely American creation.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's not there's no Sentai counterpart. There's no, like, Japanese version of Zedd, and they just are using footage. So Zedd is completely original to Power Rangers, which is pretty amazing.
Then how do you get the scenes with Rita?
She is a different actress. And I actually made a note of it. You can tell.
I cannot tell. You can tell. I did not.
But it's probably because I watched it a million times.
Right.
You could tell. There's a couple of scenes where she's speaking English and the lips match. It's like the biggest tell that that's a different actress.
I guess a bit of a spoiler, but you'll notice in the future.
Okay.
Because this was also, she was only there for like 2 minutes, so I could get why maybe you didn't notice, but
and
you will notice.
I think the only shot that they were in together is when she was kissing feet, so her face was like obscured anyway.
Right.
They used a younger actress too, which is like bizarre to me. Like you can like see the difference. Like suddenly, like she's like at least 30, right? Like she's like very young, relative to like the other Rita. So I was like, at least like get someone who's similar. But then they do have like a plot device as to why she ends up looking different. So it's just it's obvious that it's like it's an American thing. But Nev, I think you mentioned in the past that like the Japanese footage was affected by the American one. And I noticed that Trini's outfits are now female in this one. I distinctly noticed that. But I did make another note about I hate the American suits for the Power Rangers. I cannot get over their necklines. So clunky. And it's so obvious in this one. Like, you guys had to have agreed with me. Like, Tommy is like,
oh yeah,
like stuck in his freaking neck.
Well, they also spend time in the command center with their helmets off, so then it's even more noticeable, right?
Yeah.
Like, while they're fighting and stuff, it's a little hard to like pay attention because they're moving and stuff, but there's a lot of times where they're just still, and I did notice it, and that's what I actually looked into it, and I added a production note that I found via the PR wiki. Because of the success of the show, they ordered more episodes to be made, and so what ends up happening is like the Japanese companies like make like 25 new monsters specifically for Power Rangers, but then they also like, they don't splice well, and you'll see even in this, you notice that the Rangers never physically fight the Pirantis head. Like, they never are like kicking and punching, right? It's Pirantis head shoots, and then the Rangers, like, it cuts back and forth between their attacks, because like that's, the monsters are Japanese footage, but the Rangers are American footage. And so I'm actually worried that it's gonna, like, it was detracting even watching this. I was just like, oh my god, there's no like martial arts, there's no action, right? It's so, but we'll see.
That's why they had to have like new putties, so they can have some sort of semblance of a fight scene.
Yeah.
It was a bit jarring. I remember as a kid, I was like, when I first found out it was like splicing from a Japanese show, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. There's so many episodes, like you can't even tell. As an adult, I'm like, Kid Me was kind of stupid. Because it's like, listen, stuff like this is so like, yeah, you're right. It's like so obvious.
Yeah.
Like the difference. But even if like beyond just like the cutting and stuff, like the costumes are different.
Yeah.
Just get it from the Japanese counterpart, right? Or find out how they made it. Like, why are the necks like that? And the thing is, they're not always like, there's some that are like normal looking. It's just like, that was like literally,
I feel like
Tommy was drowning in his outfit.
Yeah. In one of the scenes, it looked like Tommy's like neck cuff or whatever was falling apart, and like the inside stuffing was coming out. But also his American shield is just ridiculous. It looks awful.
Oh, you noticed? Okay. I was gonna bring that up. I was like, I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, the shield that he has is not like, it's like I think foam versus the one that's like in the Japanese is like rubber or something like that. Like, you know, it's like a significant. I don't know the exact material
differences. It looks like a cheap Halloween costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
literally.
Like, it even has like the wrinkles around the stitching and stuff like that. It's not a good look, Tommy. Sorry.
Yeah. Get it together, Tommy.
Get your powers back.
Get your powers back. Spoiler alert, he now also doesn't really have a sword. Too. Yeah. So this is like a really like touch and go time for Tommy. Aqil, are you stressed about Tommy?
I'm not
What will
stressed about
happen?
Tommy. I'm not stressed about Tommy at all. One, I didn't really care for him at all since the beginning. And two, I know he's coming back as a dinosaur professor, so whatever happens.
In 10 years, he'll return, guys. It's fine.
But
In 10 years, we're good. Tommy will finally be able to be a part of the team properly. But this episode was so interesting, right? So we get also a new kind of form for Bulk and Skull. We get the arc. So this is a whole arc, Aqil. It's just not just an episode where they want to try to find out who the Rangers are. It's a significant part of their arc. They're very different, right? Now Skull doesn't follow Bulk. You know, they have more of like inter-quip as opposed to an outer quip where they're like fighting with the Rangers all the time. So I think that really they wanted to change the dynamic with Bulk and Skull and kind of really just have them be their own thing, separate from the Rangers, so they could have their own story.
Yeah, I put this in my notes as well. I was really hoping that this figuring out who the Rangers were was like a season-long arc, or how it'll go after the season. But yeah, and like you said, they're quibbling more amongst themselves, which adds a lot to the comedic effect, because otherwise they're just kind of like they're either bullying people or people are bullying them, and it's like weird.
But
now sort of playing off each other. Hopefully it'll get better.
Actually, you know what? Like you're gonna start liking Bulk and Skull, but like this starting from now is the Bulk and Skull I remember. And they're fun and they're silly and they're not really like mean to, I don't remember them being as mean to everyone else. Like they're mostly just mean to each other and they kind of just get more endearing. Like over here at the end, for me, all three of them are just like one episode, by the way. So when we talk about it, like they're one episode. At the end, Kimberly, he's like, Kimberly, you're okay. He's like so excited to see that she's fine. Whereas like Jason's like, go check on them, and Tommy's like, I'm gonna make fun of you. But still, you know, they just, and Alpha even calls them friends. Alpha's like, your friends from school are in trouble.
Yeah.
He's called them friends before. Somebody's called them friends before.
Yeah, like the uncle, Kimberly's uncle.
Probably, but also Bulk had at one point said, "Come on, guys, we're your friends." Like, so maybe that's what you're thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
But no, they're definitely softer in this episode already compared to like any element of season one. And yeah, it's like this is it kind of becomes a thing of like each season they kind of have a shtick, you know. But it does kind of gradually lead to a lot of growth within the two, which is really cool to see when we get to a certain point.
Yeah, they definitely get more endearing as time passes.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, and so I wanted to point out, because I noticed this right away, Jason with an earring, fire.
Yeah, I'm so about it.
Because I don't remember seeing that before.
I was like pretty sure it was new to the season, but I was just like, I didn't go back and check, but I was like, I don't think I saw him wear an earring before, and if he did, it must have been really small, because like this is a bit more prominent. I was just like, good luck on Jason.
Yeah, it definitely suits him. I think this episode was really strong for Jason as well. Like I enjoyed Jason a lot in this episode. He definitely was like leader material here. Things are like hitting the fan. He's like, even though when he doesn't know what's going on, like everyone kind of is like, Jason, what do we do? Like Kimberly's like, Jason, like what do we do? So he kind of really was really strong at this point. Even Billy and Trini, like everyone's like really showcasing their strength in this episode. Like it was really, really good. And I don't want to say except for Tommy, but he kind of was except for Tommy in this episode.
So whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's not his fault. He was just like, wow, those swords sure do look cool, guys. Wow, nice swords. And Alpha's like, they're there. I feel for Tommy, but also like I just feel like he's kind of like up in limbo again, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess I was gonna ask if this was like because of the production thing and because they asked for more episodes, Green Ranger's just not around in Japanese footage, but I don't know if that's the reason for it, or
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, that's
that
pretty much
yeah.
that's accurate.
I think
So
like
in the Sentai, the Green Ranger dies.
Oh.
So that's why he's not in more episodes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's not even like they're like, can you bring him like into more? Like they just can't do it. They really pushed like Tommy for as much as they can. They like milked Tommy for as much as they can. Because he was like, if Power Rangers really wanted Tommy around, right? Like he was really, really popular at this time.
Yeah.
He was, excuse me, he was the guy, right? I think like at like it was like our generation's like Jacob versus Edward was like Jason versus Tommy. Like no joke.
Maybe.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, like I had mentioned a couple times too, like he was, I think because of the lack of footage, so they thought, okay, like his run as Green Ranger would be done. They're gonna put him on a different show, but he was just so popular that they felt the need to bring him back. It is interesting, you know. I don't even dislike the character, but I'm just like a little tired of him in general. So like my feelings of him aside, like I can recognize the like value, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, early Tommy is like a different breed, I think.
So are we? Is this still early Tommy that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of Tommy. There's so much.
Yeah, that's
He's a
fine.
dinosaur professor. So much Tommy.
Tommy's here to stay.
Sporadic. Yeah.
He's here to stay sporadically.
But, yeah, I mean it's okay. These Zords that are new as well. Yeah, we all had opinions about the Zords. No reason for them. What I think is dumb, and I like these 3 episodes overall, but what I thought was dumb was, hey, your Zords are out of commission. That sucks. Luckily, we were prepared for this. We have new Zords for you, except you can't use them until your new Zords are not out of commission anymore. Yep. Why, Zordon, did you even bring them out? What was the point? All you did was like add more stress to the Rangers because now they can't even destroy their Zords or whatever if push comes to shove, right?
But when he brought them out the first time, did they even exist then, or was that just like a vision in the sky? Because then they like Alpha needed the old Zords to make the new Zords, so the new Zords weren't even made. It was like, here's a concept Zord for you to look at.
Yeah,
I don't know what the logistics of that actually were, because they did have to use the old Zords, and like this literally happens every time they summon the Zords, where they show the Zord transform into the new one, which I'm like, okay, I don't know, huh?
That's gonna get old.
Yeah. So I don't know this Zord in general, the Megazord in general, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't.
Funnily enough, though, and I think I made a note of this. So the inside looks different, right? The panel. That's the panel I remember the most as a child. Like that visual is what I remember. But that's not the Zord I remember the most. The Zord I remember the most is the original Megazord. So that's so jarring and like a juxtaposition. It doesn't make any sense. Memory is weird.
Maybe there's just more internal shots in this season.
That's possible. Yeah.
You know, it is totally. But they probably have to because of the splicing of the footage too, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably is actually. That's exactly probably why. There's definitely a lot more internal shots. So.
But also, I'm not sold on this Zord's design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
No, the Zords turn into a man, and that man turns into another man. It took a second. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I understand what's happening now.
Also, what is the power of thunder?
It's sound.
It's like you're gonna access your Zords are the power of, or whatever, channeled by the power of thunder, and I was just like, well, I don't know what that entails. Like dinosaurs, okay, I get it. That that's like a tangible thing. Thunder.
But
And then
like,
there's
the
just all these
thunder-
half of them are like mythical creatures. I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Power
It's
of
like
Thunder
they
is
don't really
just like
exist.
mythical, magical unicorns and dragons. I don't know. I feel like for a little kid watching Power Rangers, thunder is like this big scary thing. So you want to harness the power of thunder.
That
Even
makes sense.
Fair enough.
Is
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
not a fan of this Zord.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I hate it. I don't like
yeah,
it.
I'm okay with it. Like it's definitely like I feel like it's more chic looking, like more slender than the original Megazord. It looks like it's more agile. It definitely has its like it definitely looks like an upgrade to me.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like an upgrade. It has more armor, but to me it looks more human than the previous Megazord.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, the Zords are kind of like interesting this episode, right? They turn on the Rangers, which by the way is really scary. Okay, like the Rangers are so tiny, like compared to these Zords.
The Zords behind the mountain when they were like chasing the Rangers, I'm like, is that how big they are?
Yeah, it's like crazy. They're bigger than buildings, right? Like, and they're attacking these little tiny humans. I was like, oh my God, can you imagine that happening to you? Like, I swear to God, like these Rangers have backbone. But talking about like Tommy again, how he was like the most useless person in this episode. Not only was he like he wasn't just useless, he was like a hindrance. Like, so the Zord gets like Jason Zord gets taken over and controlled by the monsters, and Tommy's first instinct was to bring out another Zord. Tommy, you know the monster can like control Zords. You're making it worse for your team.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Oh no, the monster has incapacitated all of our Zords and turned one of them against us. Time to bring out another Zord. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, Tommy is not the leader for a reason. Jason's the leader for a reason. It's all I'm saying. It's all I'm saying. But
no, you're right.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. What else would you do?
That's true. Run away. I mean, I don't know.
Put the batteries right side up in your signal disruptor.
Billy, come on.
I have one funny thing to say about Billy before we rant about his plan.
Okay.
Billy's not wearing glasses as often in this season as he did in the previous season.
Right.
Yes.
He only puts them on to be smart, which is great because his morphing scenes still have glasses on. So when there's the scene where he's like finishing up with his machine and he takes off his glasses, pulls out his morpher, and the glasses are back on. I just thought that was hilarious.
That is funny. I didn't notice that, but I think I did notice he stops wearing, like he completely stops wearing it by like Zeo. He like does not wear his glasses at all.
I think even by season 3.
Yeah.
Maybe even mid season 2, but yeah, it's a really subtle way of like showing him kind of coming into his own as well. And like even like the clothes he wears have and continue to kind of like evolve. So that's like a cool visual sign of growth and development.
Yeah, it's like the hot girl she takes off her glasses and then she's hot. That's like the vilification of that.
Because we all know that in movies and TV shows, glasses are a moral hindrance.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate. I find people with glasses really attractive.
I think like what the point for Billy was more of like it's not attractiveness, even though I'm the one who made that joke, but like getting back into like seriousness. I think it's because like glasses are a big hindrance when you're fighting, right? And he like I think is really learning to become like, so we just all assumed, even as kids, we're like, he got contacts or something. We're like, what's going on? Where is his glasses gone?
I didn't assume that because when he wasn't wearing his glasses and talking to Zordon, he was squinting the whole time. He was not wearing contacts. He could not see Zordon.
That's so funny. I think that's just because Zordon is different looking. He's probably like, what's going on? Something is different about Zordon. I can see his face more.
Because he has new facial expressions.
He does.
He has like a smug look now.
Yeah. He's like laughing.
They might have gotten a couple of more shots and stuff. But I don't know. I didn't read anything specifically about that in my research. So,
but it was like different. Like he was like laughing and he does this. He like shakes his head. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, he shakes his head and then he sings this like weird song,
oh my gosh,
mocking Rita. I do not like this Zordon. I didn't like Zordon to begin with. This Zordon is like significantly worse.
I don't know if I'd go that far. But...
Yeah, he is worse. He's a little bit cocky. There's one thing that he did.
Too cocky for someone who didn't tell the Rangers about this like giant threat that he was preparing for, apparently.
Yes.
Just saying.
But he's been like that all of season 1. He knows all of this stuff and he just doesn't tell the Rangers until it's too late. He's been doing it the whole time.
Yeah. He names the monsters this time.
He named the monster! Why did he name the monster? And he said it so matter of fact. Oh, Zedd just took a regular piranha and made it into a monster, and it became Piranha. I forget the name.
Yeah, whatever his name was.
I believe he said the scanners informed him, which doesn't make much sense. But it's not like he just christened him Piranha's Head.
He did it because scanners don't know what a random piranha from a lake is named.
I'm just saying there was canon reason. I'm not saying it's a good reason. I'm just saying
he came into consciousness and he's like, "My name is Piranha's Head," and then Zordon's like, "His name is Piranha's Head."
Yeah.
Piranha's Head. Yeah. See, Rita's monsters come into consciousness and they're hungry.
This one was hungry. This one was hungry.
He goes,
"I'm hungry." He goes, "I'm
too distracted by his that he did every single time.
Oh yeah,
his mouth.
He is like
Chuck.
He was blowing into his fish, very similar to how Tommy blows into his sword, but
okay, fine.
But yeah, it was like
was to the side. He was blowing
it was all the way to the side.
To the fish. But it was the fish nunchuck too, so he had one up by his mouth, and then it was chained to another fish that was down below.
Yeah, it was like a telephone fish.
Yeah, and he never got to use it because he didn't get to fight the Power Rangers. I guess. He just kind of blew at them.
Yeah, but you know what? It's very typical to start wanting to do like an attack in person, but end up doing range because range is like it's just better.
Yeah, especially when your range is like you blow a little bit and every machine in the vicinity obeys your commands. That's a pretty good range attack.
It's a very good power. It is very, very strong.
Yes, it's very strong.
Do you want to talk about the putties for a second?
Yeah. Sure.
Let's talk about these putties who have a Death Star claw right in their chest. Right in the middle of their chest.
Yeah.
Push the Z, they said. It's not a tiny Z. It is a very huge Z in the middle of their chest. And yes. I wonder if it's like, if you touch it, do they disintegrate, or do you have to like punch it really hard?
I think you have to punch it really hard or in a specific way, because when it was Jason, right, explaining that you have to hit the Z's.
Mm-hmm.
While he was explaining it, Billy kicked a putty in the Z twice, and it didn't do anything.
Okay.
So I think you have to punch it in a very specific way for it to work.
You know what? Fair enough. That makes it less horrible, these putties, because they're supposed to be a lot stronger than Rita's putties, right? Yeah. Just a note in this fight, Bulk and Skull are like, we have to figure out who those Rangers are. And yes. Billy goes, Tommy, and then grabs him. That's not how you hide your identity, Billy. Was yelling Tommy's name right in front of the civilians.
But they're not. Oh, I guess they're called whatever color Ranger. They don't have like superhero names or anything.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
yeah.
Get over here. Green Ranger, get over here.
Yeah. Well, if Bulk and Skull are like, wow, that Green Ranger's name is Tommy. Very common name. I know a guy named Tommy. He wears green all the time. Isn't that hilarious?
And also that very distinctive voice that we heard, that we said we could recognize, talks exactly like the guy with the fake voice at school. So I don't know if that means anything.
I think, yeah, that's so funny.
I just
I
like
mean, we could talk about how bad they are about hiding their identities. Like Kimberly even says at the end, "Oh, really? You were attacked by putties?" Like, Kimberly, there are putties there.
yeah.
Like, you don't have to gaslight them.
Well,
Just thinking they weren't putties there.
well, that's the thing, because like in the beginning, Bulk and Skull are like, nobody's gonna believe us that the Power Rangers were here. And I was just thinking, yes, they will. People believe in the Power Rangers in this universe.
Yeah, and they're always saving people.
And they're always saving people in the one small city that you live in. Yes, if you say the Power Rangers saved you, everyone will 100% believe that. Except for Kimberly and Tommy, who will try to gaslight you into thinking that you didn't meet the Power Rangers.
They probably, because like I feel like the Rangers are their only friends at this point. That like they think like how the Rangers react to them is how like the world is gonna react to them.
Yeah.
They're like, no one's gonna believe us. My friends think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. I wonder if that ever gets resolved in this find out who the Rangers are arc. It probably doesn't, but whatever.
I don't remember, if I'm gonna be honest.
That's
like
better for me actually. If you don't
Remember what?
Like how how did we phase from like how did we move on from Bulk and Skull's like determination to find the Rangers to like their next arc?
Oh, that's not what I was asking. I was asking if they find out who the Rangers are.
Well, I don't know if they did it because they found out who the Rangers are, or if because of whatever reason. Like there has to be a reason why they switch into the next arc. I don't remember what it is. Like I don't know if it's like, oh, did they find out who the Rangers are? Did they just give up? Did they get tired? Did they get distracted? Like I don't know. I don't know any of it.
I don't know.
It'll be fun to find out. I don't even know when the switch happens.
Find out. We'll pay attention.
I guess you'll find out next time on Power Rangers.
And we'll find out next time on Power Rangers.
I remember more, but I'm not going to spoil any.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank
you. Yeah. So, the putties are... It's so funny with this episode. Because, again, I don't remember this whole arc, this whole three-parter. And I love Zedd, but they very quickly go from part 1, where Zedd feels very menacing and dangerous, to like part 2, it's like okay, and then by part 3 it just feels like Rita 2.0 in my opinion. And like even part 2, I feel like nothing happened in part 2 of this story.
Nothing did happen.
They lost their I keep calling
Zords.
Them their Zords. They lost their Zords in part 2.
I thought like they went back into the ground because like they already got like frozen and everything in part 1, right? So it was just like part 2, like okay, the Zords got the T-Rex and the Dragon Zord got taken over, and then they sent them back into the Earth because we haven't seen that happen before. But that was it. That was like they were waiting at the command center. They're like, we gotta go fight him, and Zorn's like, no, because you can't. I was like, okay, or because the Zords, which is fair, but
you get these new Zords, and to get these new Zords, you need to get your old Zords.
Right, and you need a smart guy to put in the batteries correctly, but he didn't.
Yeah,
because
he did it. I literally laughed so hard when he did that. I was like, Billy, you know what? It makes sense, right? Because the smartest people like have the worst memories sometimes, right? They're like scatterbrained. And I was just like, this is so funny. like it was just like so funny. I was like, Billy, this is so hilarious. Yeah. Kimberly, like Trini didn't even catch up on it either. She's just like, yeah, this is fine. Trini's like, this is normal.
I mean, I get it. You're in a rush and everything, and things happen, oversight. But it was just like, of all the reasons, it just felt like it was basically stalling for time for the show in a way. Just like, this is not even a reason.
Yeah, that's 100% what it was. They just had footage of the machine not working, and they're like, all right, we gotta throw this in somehow.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There was footage of the batteries being changed. Like, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I was like, why did you do this?
So funny. No, it's good. I overall like these 3 episodes. I think you, Nuv, and I have different opinions. I think you feel like it's not strong for an opening season. I felt like it was a good introduction to what we're going to expect from season 2. What about you, Aqil? You're gonna be
I
the
think
tiebreaker.
it was too strong of an opening. Not to break the tie or anything. I think we jumped into it way too fast.
Hmm.
But Minhas, if you're saying this sets the tone for the rest of the season, then let's see how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah. I'm excited for some of the stuff this season. I know, Nev, you don't remember a lot, but there's some stuff in this season that is really, really exciting that I have watched a couple of times over and over and over again. I don't have too many like notes after this. I have some like little tidbits here and there. What about you guys? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts are when Zedd decides to target civilians, he starts with the teenagers. Why does everybody in this universe hate teenagers?
Because teenagers scared the living shit out of me. That's Zedd and every monster. You're making a face.
To mark this episode as explicit when we upload the audio. And then the last thing that I had was actually two things. One is they're gonna do their old fake out routine with their weapon, and their old fake out routine is point it at the guy and then shoot the guy. It's not a fake out. And then the last one, I just wrote, I don't like the Thunder Power salute. It's not a good salute. It's a very 1930s Germany salute that they do in their Megazord. I don't like that salute.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I don't think they knew that. Like the cultural context of the Japanese footage. Like I don't know.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Japan has a bit of a Hitler problem.
Oh.
But I don't think they saw it as a bad thing, or they just didn't make the connection.
It's probably more of the latter, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Any final thoughts, stuff?
Nothing crazy. Part 3 gave us a bit of a new intro. So
yes.
That was cool.
That caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I actually went back and I'm like, did they not do this at the beginning of the season? No.
Right.
This third part of this episode arc. Okay.
Right.
Which is actually good. Sorry, go ahead, Nev. I did have a note on that.
No, go for it.
Okay, because I recently watched Cosmic Fury, as you know, and they changed the theme like before anything like the episode, right? So when they introduced the Black and Green Ranger, I didn't know who these people were, but they were in the intro, and I'm like, well, now I know that we're getting new Rangers in this season. But in this one, they had Rita still in the beginning because you don't know that a mutiny was happening. So I actually like that because, like, honestly, like, not that I was upset that Cosmic Fury did it. I was just kind of like, I made a note that Cosmic Fury did that.
Yeah, that makes sense because that was, I guess, Rita wasn't in the third episode intro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought that was cool, and like, yeah, the intro continues to evolve as like the characters and the story evolve. So I always appreciate that. Let's see what else. Other than that, not too much. Really, just I think we kind of touched on everything I said. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling this opening to the season. I do think there are better stories that are told as the season progresses, but I was just, for, I guess, my memory of Zedd, for him to, like, just not do much ultimately. Like, even, you had mentioned he took over the Zords and started attacking, like, the rally, the marathon, whatever they're doing. It was just, like, wind and dirt blowing into the people's faces. Like, it was, I'm not expecting them to, like, fire, you know, the missiles at them and everything, but just, like, I don't know, make the earth shake like Rita did or something, like, you know. It was, you know, I get it, it's power. But it is interesting that, so Zedd comes off pretty intimidating, as we've noted, but what's funny is, even for as maybe, like, seemingly lacking, like, see how he seems to, I feel like he may be lacking some sort of menace at this point, he's menacing enough that parents complained about him. And then the show had to actually make him less menacing as time progresses. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, parents complaining about Power Rangers. Like, it just doesn't compute in my brain, but like it is what it is, right?
Oh yeah, apparently it's uber violent for parents.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It is wild. My last notes are pretty much like little things here and there. The backward footage that they usually do with the monsters jumping up and down, somebody did it by passing binoculars. They just did a reverse footage for some reason. Like, they couldn't have the girl pass the binoculars back to him. That was funny. That was weird. I love Rita Repulsa so much. I thought like even her in this, like her in the dumpster, just like singing about slime, like I thought it was so funny. I'm like, Rita, like you're the best. I love you so much. And her in there as a little clay being, she'd be like, ah, and her little arms like punching the air. I was living for it. I love Rita Repulsa so much. She is the classiest of all the classic villains.
Mm-hmm.
I miss her.
And she's coming back.
You haven't seen the last of Rita Repulsa. And you haven't seen the last of Once a Ranger. All right, join us next time. I'm Minhas. I'm joined with Aqil and Nub. We'll see you next time.
Once a Ranger,
Always a Ranger.